Hey everyone, good morning. Oh, I hate that it's 10 to 7 and it's pitch black outside, but that's the season that we're in. So I'm going to make myself some breakfast, some tofu scramble, and I want to talk about something that has been very much in my mind lately because I have a loved one who is struggling with this. So I just thought, well, while I'm making my tofu scramble, we can have a chat. So what I like to do for my tofu scramble is add in a little onion and pepper. Normally I have diced onion and pepper in my freezer because I always just dice up a bunch extra when I'm cutting some. And I save it and freeze it, but I've used it all up. So I'll finish dicing those up after. Always a good thing to have. Okay, let's get our pan heating up. Which one is that? This one. Add a little oil, and we'll get these sauteing just to soften up a bit. While we figure out the rest. So, anyways, about the topic I wanted to talk about. They were talking to me about some issues that they were having with a couple of their friends. And I mean, it's always easier, obviously, to see things when you're on the outside, right? You're not the one in the middle of things. But it was pretty obvious, it is pretty obvious to me that, you know, this friendship is pretty one-sided in that these people are taking advantage of their generosity, and it's very one-sided. And they're having a hard time. Let's call this person Jay. My loved one. We'll call that person Jay. And Jay is having a really hard time with it because they think that they're friends with these people. But even as they're telling me the story, I can see in their face that they are realizing, does this sound like a friendship? So they're being taken advantage of, right? Their generosity is being taken for granted. They're being taken advantage financially. And obviously, that's a big concern for me. And, you know, we're talking it through. And the problem is, well, here's the thing. And I've said this to my kids. I say this all the time. Well, not all the time, but regularly. Hold on a sec. Just going to add a little water in here. And move this over to this other burner because that one is way too hot. And get a little facial. Frizz my hair because I can't turn the fan on because I'm talking to you guys. You know, these pans are cute, but they're frustrating as heck because they don't sit level on this stove. I don't know why. Every other pan does. But these ones, I think because the handles are so heavy. Anyways, so here's the thing. I absolutely believe that you teach people how to treat you. And so what's happened is Jay has taught these people that it's okay to ask them for money, that it's okay to, you know, basically only reach out when they need something, support or money or that sort of thing. Or when they have drama and they need somebody to talk to. But they're not necessarily there when Jay needs them. And it sounds harsh to say when you're in a difficult relationship with friends or family, co-workers, that you teach people how to treat you. But the reality is you do. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to save the other half of this extra firm tofu for making my cottage cheese recipe, because I'm out. And I make that at least every couple of weeks. I'll just get that put away. So now I'm just going to crumble this in. This is not this brand of extra firm tofu isn't really as extra firm as other brands, but I don't mind because it's great in the cottage cheese recipe. And for tofu scramble, you kind of want a little bit of moisture. So I've patted it dry, and now I'm just going to crumble it in. Let's say you meet somebody that you kind of like, and you go out with them, or a friend that you're sort of getting to know, and you're spending time with them. The first time that they make a joke at your expense, the first time that they take you for granted, the first time that they do something that is disrespectful, but not super disrespectful, or something that they say afterwards, if you comment on it, they say, "Oh, I was just joking, take a joke, can't you take a joke? I was just joking." That right there is the time when you sort of set the boundary, the parameter, right? That's your opportunity to teach them that, that's not okay, that's not how you're treated. And it's not in an abrasive, aggressive way. It's just a very simple thing, right? Like when somebody, for example, somebody makes a joke that is at your expense, or that, you find hurtful. That's when you say, "I didn't really like that. I didn't really appreciate that." And when they say, "Oh, I was just joking, take a joke. Can't you take a joke? You're too sensitive." You say, "Well, a joke is supposed to be funny to both parties, or to all parties, and I didn't find that funny. I found that hurtful. And, I need you not to do that again. The people that I'm the closest to, they don't treat me like that. And so, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't, make that kind of joke, or do that kind of thing again." And you've set the boundary. You've given them the opportunity not to do it again. You've also given them the opportunity to do it again. But once you set that boundary, now you stick to it. If it happens again, then you either disengage, don't spend time with that person anymore. You don't even have to say anything. But if it is somebody that you do have to say again, you just say, "Okay, so, I asked you not to do that. You obviously don't care about my feelings, and that's okay. So I'm not going to spend time with you. I'm not going to attend this. I'm not going to be part of this, because, I have people in my life who don't treat me like that." This is my garlic and herb seasoning, homemade garlic and herb seasoning. I do have a recipe for tofu scramble mix, and it is very similar to this. It's on the channel in the recipe section, but I don't have it any made. I've used it all up. There's some things I need to do, apparently, to stock up my pantry. Anyways, the thing is, the first time somebody gets away with disrespecting you, I had a friend, and I'll use air quotes around that friend, who was always late for every interaction. There was a three of us that would meet for coffee on weekends and things like that occasionally. We used to work together. And it got to the point where we would say, "Okay, you choose the time. You choose the place that works so that you can make it on time." And even then, she would be late. And I'm not just talking a few minutes late, half hour late at least. And when she would come in, she'd come in laughing like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm late. I was doing this and this," and just laugh it off, right? And it was incredibly annoying. And what I realized after far too long was that I had taught her, we had taught her that was okay. Because how did we teach her that was okay? Because we kept inviting her for coffee. We kept sort of allowing that behavior and letting her get away with it. It was ridiculous how long that we allowed that for. And eventually, I smartened the hell up and realized this is the perfect example. What I did was no longer invite her to when we got together for coffee. And if the other person mentioned it, or if there was a picture on Instagram or something like that, and she commented, "Oh, well, you didn't invite me. Like, how come you guys never invite me?" Just didn't engage. I don't think she ever understood. But it wasn't my job, and it's not your job either, to educate people to behave better, unless it's your kids, right? It's your job, it's our job to just decide what we're going to put up with. And so much earlier on, I should have done that. I should have just stopped inviting her. And I have other friends, other people that I started to be friends with, who I realized very quickly I was the only person reaching out. And when I reached out, yeah, they would get together, but they never reached out to me. And so I just stopped, because what I was doing by continuing to reach out was teaching them that that's how this friendship works. I do all the work, and they give me their time when they're available, but I wasn't a priority. Again, you teach people how to treat you. I need some chives. Where are my chives? There are my chives. Just going to taste this. See what we need. Hot. Good. Needs a little bit more seasoning. I am going to add salt here in a second, but, well, you'll see. Let's put some pepper in there. For the life of me, I cannot get a good pepper grinder. So this applies to family as well, right? This can apply to your kids. It can apply to your parents, your in-laws, that sort of thing. The thing is, if we engage and allow, see what I mean about this frying pan? If we allow that behavior over and over again, we really shouldn't be surprised and shouldn't complain that those people continue to do those behaviors, because we have allowed it. We've taught them this is okay. And even if I grumble, I'll still come back for more, right? And so if somebody is always argumentative, if somebody is always in your face about something, it's okay to go, well, okay, and then just walk away, right? Or cool, and just walk away. Or not call that person, or not do those things. It's okay to do that. You don't owe anybody anything when it comes to that. Okay, so this is kala namak, and it is Indian black salt. It's got very much a sulfur taste, and so it's a great way to sort of add that to your eggs. Great way to add that to your tofu scramble if you want it to taste like that. But it is very salty, so be very light-handed when it comes to that. Okay, so let's just let that do its thing. So how does this apply at work? It's the same thing. The first time that somebody does something that you don't appreciate, that isn't copacetic, that isn't appropriate, you just say it. Somebody says something and you say, can you say that again? Or can you tell me what you mean by that? Or how is that relevant to what we're talking about? And you're just very polite, very matter of fact. And often when you ask somebody to explain what they mean by something, they get really cranky, right? Because when they have to explain it or say it again, they have to sort of acknowledge how weird and how odd or how inappropriate what they said is. And people around also then take more notice, and they deserve it, right? They deserve to be uncomfortable because they've just made you uncomfortable, and that's not okay. And a joke is not a joke if you didn't find it funny. If right away, when you meet people, when you're talking to people, when you, have your first date with somebody, you set those boundaries, and you teach them that I've got to treat this person with respect. I have to show up on time when I say I'm going to meet them, or they leave, and then I show up and they're not there. The first time that happens, they're going to be really mad at you. If you decide to meet up with them again, they'll either be on time or they'll do it again, and it will be the last time that you meet up with them. But either way, you'll have taught them a lesson. And maybe the next time they won't do that to somebody else. Maybe they will. Maybe they don't care. But if they don't care, they're not the people you want in your life anyways. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of regular salt in there, because we only want so much of that. It wasn't something that came second nature to me because I'm a people pleaser. And so it was very difficult for me to do this because I didn't want people to not like me. It's a practice. But once you get used to it, once you start doing it, you'll be amazed at how much happier you are, how much better your relationships are, because the people that you do have relationships with, they're people that respect you, that don't belittle you, that lift you up, and that it's an equal give and take. And that's pretty amazing. People can behave any way they want. I'm telling them how not to behave with me if they want to be in my life. I don't need to be in anybody's life, except for my kids. But I also teach my kids how to treat me, right? And my kids have taught me several times. There have been times where they have had to teach me, no, Mom, I'm now past that age where that's still okay for you to be doing or saying. They had to teach me how to treat them now that they're adults. And that was really a good lesson for me. And I very much took that at heart and appreciated that they had that conversation and set that boundary. And so it works both ways. Sometimes people will have to teach you how to treat them. But this is something that is hard to do at first, and especially if you're a people pleaser. But if you do it consistently, not in an aggressive, abrasive way, just in a very calm, matter-of-fact, but determined and serious way, it is something that will serve you well. And it may take a couple of times, especially if it's somebody that you're in a long-term relationship with. Obviously, that's going to take some time because you can't just walk away. We need some toast. Got some margarine, and I've got some Goblin Green hot sauce from the Cure Hot Sauce Company. It's a local hot sauce company. Very little of this needs to go on, but a little hot sauce is always a good idea. So anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about, because that's what I'm having conversations with Jay about, how to now set that boundary, because they're very much a people pleaser as well. And so I understand how hard that is. But it's never too late to set the boundary. It's never too late to say, hey, I know that this is what has been going on, but I can't continue to do that. So from now on, I'm not going to be able to help you financially. Or from now on, I'm not going to be here if you're more than 5 minutes late. Or from now on, the next time you make a joke at my expense, I will walk out that door and I'm not coming back. It's English, or whatever language you say it in. It's pretty straightforward. We're dealing with adults here. They should get it. And adults that don't get it don't want to get it. Because making you, belittling you, making you uncomfortable, taking advantage of you makes them feel better about themselves. And that is not your job. That is not my job. That's not our job. We do that for our children. We lift up our friends. We lift up the people we care about. But ultimately, we are not there for other people to use and abuse, to belittle, just to make themselves feel better or to fill some sort of a need whenever they need it. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about because I think it's important. So I'm going to have my breakfast. Hopefully it'll get light out eventually. It's been raining today. It wasn't raining yesterday, which was nice. But it's kind of a bummer because it's Saturday and I wanted to get out and do some things outside, but I can't because it's raining. So I don't know what I'll do. Stuff inside. I got to clear up the loft because there's a bunch of mess up there. So I'm going to tidy that up. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, including to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you next time.